guys, Velia person here. I apologize for the delay. I was having a little trouble getting online. It's my first time, so I was a little nervous, and I had to put a buttons I didn't know that existed. So I hope you're here with me this evening. Hi, is anybody here? See if anybody's here. Take a few minutes here. I'm about 5 minutes late. I do apologize. But I'm on now. Hi, Wendy. See Wendy on. Is there anybody else on? Hi, Angel. Thanks for joining, you guys. I know that your time is precious, and I do appreciate you sitting here with me this evening. I won't take too much of your time. Just wanted to do an intro. Hi, Wendy, of what, hi, Dina, to see what it's going to look like on Wednesday nights. And I want a lot of your feedback, so if you don't mind, after today, if you can give me some feedback, I'd surely appreciate it. Today, we're going to start with a couple things. I'm going to give somebody just a couple minutes to jump on in case they're going to. Now, I don't know exactly how the live feed works, but I think it's available for a little bit and then it goes off. So Dina can tell you better. Hi, Ginger. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm super nervous, just so you know. I'll let you know ahead of time, but I'm super, super excited, more than I am nervous. So I want to talk to you about a couple of things. Starting more off with limiting beliefs. Now, I know that was a huge, huge hurdle in my life, and I still struggle with it. So I'm really excited. Hi, Yesenia. Thanks for joining us this evening. Now, I do want to have more of a questions forum as well. So if you guys have any questions as I'm going through a few things, or if you guys can provide any type of comments, I would really appreciate it. I want to make sure that I'm here to service you. So anything that you might need, any questions you may have, any topics or any concerns, anything you'd like to share, I would love for you guys to feel comfortable enough in just sending out a comment or you know, asking me questions later on. You could private message me or tag me here, or however best works for you. I would really appreciate it. Today we're going to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs, and I'm going to get into a couple of things, so bear with me as we jump around a bit. First thing I want to talk about is the limiting beliefs that I had. Now, I know being a believer, I'd go to church and hear scriptures about people in different walks of life. Now, for me, I summed it up as 3 categories. There was people that were just always going to be poor, because that's just the way it was. Those that just had enough and barely made it and should be grateful. And then there were the ones that were super abundant. They had just all this money and they were just so very successful. Now, I identified myself with the just enough bunch. I was grateful. I was always happy with what I had. Never complained. I felt, you know what, Lord, I'm just grateful for what you give me. I could pay my bills. I'm so happy. And that was kind of my mindset. And I was okay with that. I never complained about it. If I could pay my bills at the end of the month, that was enough for me. So I was just super, super happy that God paid attention to me with everything else that he had going on, right? I remember coming to him in prayer and asking him for things like, Lord, I just need, you know, $230 to make it for the end of the month. I just need $260. Which is so funny, because I think a lot of us feel that way. Like, after me having my beliefs, I found out that I would bump into a lot of people that had very similar beliefs. And I'm thinking, oh, I guess this is normal. This is the way it should be. You know, a lot of us are just grateful. We should just be grateful that we're not poor. So that kind of messed with my head for a little bit. What I found out is that God wants to give me more. Through different mentors and different readings and things of that nature. I remember having a friend once that said, Velia, if you need 50 cents, ask God for $1.50. And I'm like, oh, isn't that being selfish? I just need the 50 cents. He goes, no, God wants you to ask him for more, and he wants to give you more. You're his kid. So I said, okay, that's true. God doesn't want me to suffer, but I should still be happy. But she implanted a seed in my brain that day and in my heart that made me, you know what? It's true. God has so much to give me. All I need to do is ask for it. So that was weird, because I had that belief system where I should just be happy with what I have. But that played more and more in my life. And I started to ask God for more. I started praying for more. Lord, thank you for paying my bills. Going to the movies this month would be nice. And all of a sudden, I'd have another $50 extra every month. So I really started paying attention to the power of my prayers, to the power of my thoughts. and very importantly to the power of my words, which sometimes we feel, not a big deal. You say, you think, not a big deal. I remember talking to a friend about the power of thoughts, and how important it is for us not to allow negative thoughts to stay there for so long. Now, we're all going to have negative thoughts. We have no control over the thoughts that come into our head, but we do have control over how long we allow those thoughts to stay there. For example, if I feel I'm never going to be successful and I ponder, I'm not going to be successful, I've tried so hard, I've done this, I've done that, and nothing changes, well then that thought, that negative thought, I'm allowing it to take space in my brain, right? Giving it some hot chocolate, giving it a little blanket, and just allowing it to get comfortable, right? That's kind of how it happens. So do any of you, hi Brandy, thanks for joining. Do any of you have any limiting beliefs yourself? I just, give you an example of a couple of mine, but I'd like to hear any of yours. So if you guys like to just kind of tap in, is that something that you struggle with? Maybe something similar, things of that nature. And we all kind of have, there's some people that just are grateful and that's it, and that's okay. But I always wondered, why is God allowing me to have this in my heart and my mind thinking, I still think I could do more. I want to do more. I'm happy, but I have this yearning to want more, to do more. And I thought to myself, what would I do with what God blessed me with? And I always said, if God blesses me, I want it to be used for His glory, not for mine. Of course, I was going to enjoy it, right? Being a good steward of the finances, but ultimately it was to serve Him and to His glory. There was something that was very interesting that I found out just about 3 years ago. So I live with these limiting beliefs forever. And up until 3 years ago, there was something in my brain that started saying, I need to ask for more. Because I want to help people. I want people to be successful. But if I don't have the means or the resources to do that, then how can I help them? So it started really racking in my brain. And started thinking, okay, Velia, what are you going to think? And the scripture that came to me was Matthew 25. So if you guys have your Bibles or if you want to jot it down, it's Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. I've always asked God to use me in whatever capacity He felt I could be used. I've always asked God to equip me. I've asked, for my education. I've worked hard and some people can say, oh, you're quite successful. But I still think, what? If God's gifted me with so many talents, then I need to use them for His glory. Because what am I going to say to Him? I gave you all this, and what'd you do with it? So a very famous quote I like or that I attempt to live my life by is one that says, at the end of my life, I will stand before God with no talent left, and I will say to Him, I used everything you gave me. And for a while, it's kind of crazy because you think that way, and you're like, wait a minute. You're right, because everything you have was given to you, so you're accountable for what you do with it. Whether that be your talents, your finances, whatever gifts He's blessed you with, or whatever knowledge that you gain, right? Does anybody agree? Okay, it's my first time in live. Should I be able to see chat here or comments? I don't know because I don't see any. Let me see if I can see you guys. Nope. Okay, so bear with me for a few seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and read Matthew 25, 14 through 30, just to kind of give you guys an idea of where I want to go with this, okay? So again, it's Matthew 25. We're going to start on verse 14 and go through 30. So it's a parable about the bags of gold. Many might be familiar with it. It says, again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another bag, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled account with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put in a charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. "Master," he said, "I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you." His master replied, "You wicked, lazy servant. You knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I return, I would have received it back in interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have in abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and thrown that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." So when I read that, it was a bit harsh, but it really hit my heart to say, you know what? Here I am asking God or God's giving me gold and I'm burying it. I'm not doing anything with it because I'm afraid. I'm living in fear. So I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but when I first read that, I related to the guy who buried the gold, because that was me. I had all these gifts and talents and dreams, and I know God had put these things in my heart, but I was too afraid. I didn't know what to do with it. Call it lack of, knowledge, of strength, whatever you want to call it, but it was for a reason. So I said, okay, if this is piercing at my heart, what am I going to do to fix it? Because I want to be the guy with 10 bags of gold. That's just who I want to be, because I know what I want to do with it. I know what God has given me as far as a vision to what to do with it. So here's where steps come in. Like, how do we go about it, right? It's not very easy. It's easy to say, but it's not always very easy to do. I started thinking about the power of my thoughts. What I was thinking, what I was saying. Oh, it's okay. You should just be happy you have this, be happy you have that. And I started changing that. I really started changing my thoughts to think you need to be more prosperous. You need to figure out how you're going to make 10 bags of gold happen, and help those that have the limiting beliefs as well. And that's where God's using me right now. He's using me to empower others to really feel like they deserve to be abundantly blessed. And it's not like, oh, you're going to be rich. No. You just need to be blessed abundantly. And God has so much for us. And through time, I'm discovering how much more he has. And I am praying to be a better receiver. And I joke with Dina all the time, like, I didn't know how to receive. Like, I thought, like, oh, God, that's good enough. And I remember showing her an image of God with this big old box of gift and trying to get in the door that I hadn't opened fully for him. So I work with that still to this day. What I do understand is what you believe you are, you are. What you think is true, whether it's good or positive. What it is that you think about yourself is true. If you think you could never make it, you're never going to. If you think you're going to make it and make it big, you are going to. There's so many steps in place that we can go to. We have so many resources now. We have teams that can help empower people to claim their personal power. Whatever you say is true, remember that. So the power of your words, super, super powerful. I want to share a story with a friend. I was learning about words of affirmation a couple years ago, and I was at my friend's house. And there was always a stray dog that ran and ran and ran all the time. And I'm terrified of dogs, so of course I didn't like that. So I'd pull up to her house, and I remember there being that stray dog again. I got off my car and practically ran into her porch. But I said something. I spoke the words. I said, "I'm surprised no one's killed that dog yet. He's always running the street." As soon as I said that, the dog was hit by a car. Now I thought, oh my gosh, I killed the dog. I mean, all kinds of things happened. But I know that it was a time in my life that God was showing me the power of words. And he spoke through me either directly or indirectly through that. But then is when it became very evident to me that, like, you're not speaking the right words. You are not speaking like a child of God. You are not speaking like someone that's deserving of abundance. And I started making changes. I started thinking about the power of my thoughts and how that really did play out in my words and how that really did play out in my life. And over again, I saw where God was saying, you know what, you need to stop. It's time for you to live in abundance. So I'm on that journey now, and it's not easy. Every day I really do have to look at myself in the mirror and remind myself who I am in Christ, because I can't do it alone. And it is a struggle because I've had this limited beliefing system for so long, and all of a sudden, it's playing out and it's exciting, but it's scary and it's everything. So I'm going to show you guys the tools that I've used to help me shift that paradigm to where I'm thinking more Christ-like than somebody who should just be happy. Okay, we'll get into that in the weeks to come if you choose to join me on this journey. I want to know what healthy wealth looks like to you. I want you guys to start thinking about what it is, because it's one thing to be wealthy, but another thing to be have healthy wealth. They're two totally different things, and we're going to talk about that a little further on during the weeks to come. I really want you to think about what that looks like to you. There is something called declaring your personal power, and I want to share that with you today. There is a book that is called The Motivation Manifesto, and this paired with my scriptures and a lot of really deep soul searching has really helped me understand just how much power God's given me and every one of us. We have to just learn to tap into it. And I'm going to read a couple things out of this book to you in a few, so you kind of have an idea of what it is the book touches on and how that would work. So as I shared earlier, reclaiming your personal power is a daily thing. You don't just reclaim the power one day and then it's good. It's like a cell phone. You have to constantly plug yourself in to charge yourself to really make things happen for you. So once you have an idea of saying, this is what I want to do with the gifts and talents that God gave me, I'll help you figure that out, because we have resources and we all come from different walks of life. So I want to really, really share with you that there is a way to allow yourself to feel deserving of blessings. There is a way to claim that personal power, whether it be through scripture or self-help books or DVDs or things like, I love Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer does not allow me to have a pity party. Whenever I'm feeling unworthy or lacking in whatever area, I listen to her. I have her app on my phone and she just gives me that jump I need. Okay, baby, I get up. That's long enough. Have your pity party. I time my pity parties for about a minute or two, and then I'm back on track because I need to be used. I've asked to be used. Therefore, he's keeping me accountable and I'm accountable, right? That's what's so important. I do need to remind myself of my accomplishments. I think so many of us sometimes struggle with where we fall short, that we forget where we actually accomplish things. So I would challenge each and every one of you to sit down and really write about everything you've accomplished in life. Graduating through high school, not fighting when you could have fought, your marriage, your kids, your education, any personal struggles that you've overcome, how you overcame them, what kind of friend you are, what kind of daughter you are, just everything good about you. I really want you to think about all your strengths, and if you need to, write them down. So whenever you're feeling like you haven't have the courage or the energy to overcome, remind yourself of everything you have done in your life, and that will help fuel you to continue to attain other goals and set other ones for yourself. And we can do this together in these weeks to come. I want to read a little bit on the Declaration of Personal Power, if that's okay. So again, we're reading from the Motivation Manifesto, and this is the book that we're going to be going through in the next couple weeks as well. Amazon has it for I think it's less than $10, the book, and it's worth every penny. We're going to talk about the Declaration of Personal Power, and it starts like this. It said, there comes a time in the lives of those destined for greatness when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why, having been endowed with the courageous heart of a lion, do we live as mice? And I was a mouse. We must look squarely into our own tired eyes and examine why we waste so much time sniffing at every distraction, why we cower at the thought of revealing our true selves to the world, why we scurry so quickly from conflict, and why we consent to play small. We must ask why we participate so humbly in society's frantic race, allowing ourselves into its mazes of mediocrity and settling for scraps of reward when nature has offered unlimited freedom, power, and abundance to the bold, the determined, the creative, the independent, to each of us. We must ask if our desires to feel safe and accepted are in fact enslaving us to popular opinion and to boredom. We must ask, when will we be ready to ascend to another level of existence? when in the course of human events it becomes necessary to ask such questions and to dissolve the belief and behavior that have limited us, assuming once more the full powers of our being to which God and the laws of nature have entitled us. A decent respect to human kindness requires that we should declare the motives that impel us to exert our strength and to separate ourselves from those who stunt our vitality, growth, and happiness. Now, I thought like, oh my gosh, I can't just dump people. I can't do that. But we are supposed to be around those that empower us. You know, it's so easy to always be lifting people up. You know, you go and we have that heart of service. We want to go help people that are struggling. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. Let me go help. But it comes to a point where you say, you know what? I need to be pulled up as well. I need to be empowered. So where do you find those people? Now, in this group, we're all really working to build our dreams, right? We're all really working to really understand how this business works. How can we really empower others? How can we bless others with this whole oil? I mean, this stuff is just a gift from God. How do we do that? And we get stuck. So it's things like this that help really empower us and to allow us to really figure out, you know what? I am powerful. How do I get this done? I'll continue to read a couple more. It says, we must declare our personal power and freedom. We hold these truths self-evident that all men and women are created equal. Though we do not live equal lives due to differences in will, motivation, effort, and habit, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But that is incumbent upon each of us to be vigilant and disciplined should we wish to attain such a vital, free, and happy life. We believe the greatest of human powers is the ability to independently think for ourselves, to choose our own aims, affections, and actions. For in the hearts of humankind lives a natural instinct for freedom and independence, a psychological predisposition for self-direction, a biological imperative toward growth, and spiritual joy in choosing and advancing one's own life. It is the main motivation of humankind to be free, to express our true selves and pursue our dreams without restriction, to experience what may be called personal freedom. To secure rights in this personal freedom, men and women of conscience must not contend to be controlled by fear, convention, or the will of the masses. We must govern our lives, and when our thoughts and actions become destructive, it is our responsibility to alter or abolish them and to institute new habits as the foundation for a freer, happier life. We must exert our power, improving how we think and how we interact with the world. So unlike, I don't know if many of you struggle with this, but I struggle with keeping the positive thoughts sometimes, you know, because life happens. And to say you're always positive and you're always go happy and lucky is a lie. It doesn't really happen that way. But there is a system to where you're feeling that way. You can reach out and tap into those things, such as something like this, right? We can go and tap. So if you want to sit there and be depressed and be sad, you can do that. You have the right to do that. But you can also be uplifted. You can also be renewed. And you can also overcome the many struggles that come our way. And that's why it's very important to be in a team like this, where we're constantly motivating each other and finding ways to uplift one another, sharing what our concerns are, right? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. There is so much in this book, and if you join us for the next couple weeks, we're going to be going through it and just picking out and pointing out different parts of the book that can really help us gain better esteem and learn to eliminate the distracting factors that are not empowering us in any way, but in return instead are actually dragging us down and preventing us from reaching our total greatness, because we are all destined to greatness. And once we believe that, we find the tools and we really sit down and organize our efforts and our goals and the steps to get there, you will attain them. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to participate on Wednesdays. If you're not here live, I think that the video is going to play again. So if you guys have any questions or you want to reach out, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I will be here for the next few weeks, and you can reach me if you haven't already friended me. You can. Facebook, Velia Gutierrez person. You'll see my name up there somewhere. You can friend me if you have any questions. Please reach out. I'm trying to see if I can see any questions here, and I don't see any yet. So, does anybody have any questions about anything? No? Yes? Okay. I don't want to take too much of your time. It's been about 30 minutes, so we're going to keep it short today since it's an intro, and we're hoping many of you will, will join, and please share with any of your friends on the book, on the page, to see if they can jump on in. And if you guys have some feedback, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking some time off tonight and joining on this journey. Really appreciate it. Hope to hear from you guys soon, and have yourself a great evening.